Welcome in to this weekend's European Soccer, a best bets show on the Shred the Spread YouTube channel. Now, this week, I've picked out 9 different games to create 3 parlays coming from the Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A, and Ligue. Now, there's no EPL this weekend as they are off for the FA Cup. So before I get into it, if you want more European soccer picks, AFCON picks, and more from other sports, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more. Let's start on Saturday in Germany in the Bundesliga, starting with Hoffenheim and Heidenheim. Now, neither team's in great form. Hoffenheim is winless in 4 games. They've had 3 losses in that time. They just lost 3-2 away to Freiburg last week. Heidenheim drew Wolfsburg 1-1. They drew Köln 1-1 the game prior, so they're winless in 2. But if you look back a little bit further, Heidenheim had 3 straight wins, so they are actually in not terrible form as they're now undefeated in 5 games. Heidenheim, they are a much better home team than on the road, where they will be here, where they're just 1-2-6. Hoffenheim are actually a better road team, where they're 5-1-4, compared to at home, where they will be in this game at 2-2-4. Home or away though, Hoffenheim games always see goals. They average the 3rd most goals per match in the Bundesliga at 3.9, and they're the 3rd highest over 2.5 team at 15-3. Heidenheim games average 3.4 goals per match themselves. Now, every single Hoffenheim game has seen at least 2 goals this season, that being all 18, and they're the only team to have that stat. Heidenheim are 15-3 to over 1.5. Now, these teams are actually side by side in the table here, Hoffenheim being 8th with 24 points, and Heidenheim 9th with 22 points. It was 3-2 Hoffenheim on the road earlier this season when these teams met. Hoffenheim had scored in 20 straight Bundesliga games prior to being shut out to Bayern Munich. Now, they got back on the score sheet last week, albeit in a 3-2 loss. I think they should score here. I think someone will get at least a second goal, whether that's Hoffenheim or Heidenheim. This could be a both teams to score bet, considering Heidenheim has scored in 6 straight games. I'll just go over 1.5 to play it super safe. And next in this parlay will be Werder Bremen and Freiburg. I see some value here in some way, shape, or form on the home team, getting lots of good plus money here to get but plus 140 to get a win. But I don't think you need to bet them to win. I think there's other ways to go about it. Now, they are 13th versus Freiburg, who are 7th, but they have been improving in recent weeks. Bremen was 2-3-0 in their last 5. They've scored 7 goals in those 5 games as well. They're 3-5-2 in their last 10. And the losses in that time have come to some top teams like Leverkusen and Stuttgart. Those losses were the only time they haven't scored in their last 10 games. They've also scored 13 goals in those 10 games. Now, if you go back to last season, win or lose, Bremen is usually good for goals when they're playing at home in the Bundesliga. In fact, it's happened in 18 of their past 21 home games. Freiburg, too, are in good form. They're 4-1-1 in their last 6. They've also kept 4 clean sheets in that time, but in their last 3 games, they've allowed 5 goals. They won 3-2 over Hoffenheim last week, despite taking a red card late in that game. Freiburg's won the last 3 meetings between these teams, 1-0, 2-1, and 2-0. They're also undefeated in 5 games versus Werder. So I don't want to say Werder Bremen's going to win this game because Freiburg are also playing pretty well themselves. Now, Werder, though, after they just ended a 32-match streak against Bayern where they had not won a game, where they did get that win last week, 1-0. And now, all I'm going to ask for this week, I don't need a colossal upset. I just need them to get 1 goal, and Freiburg will be playing without center back Emmanuel Guede, who took a red card last week. Let's go Werder Bremen to score for the second leg of this parlay. And the final leg, Bayer Leverkusen and Borussia Monchengladbach. No Victor Boniface, no problem so far for Leverkusen across 27 games in the Bundesliga. They're still undefeated in all competitions at 24-3-0. They're the only team in the top 5 leagues to still be undefeated this season. They have 3 draws in that time. They've come against Bayern, Dortmund, and Stuttgart, all much better teams than Gladbach. They've still scored in every single game, and this coming after coming back from the winter break, and despite leaving it late, they beat Augsburg 1-0 in a 94th minute winner. And then they did the same thing last week against Leipzig to win 3-2 with a 91st minute winner. Gladbach are a team you can count on for goals in their games. They've scored 35. They've allowed 38 in 18 games, and they are about a mediocre mid-pack team at 5-5-8. Their games average the highest goals per match in Germany right now at 4.1, and they're the highest over 2.5 team at 17-1. But you can't count on them to get a win, and the proof is no clearer than if you look at their past 5 games where they have a 2-1 loss, a 3-1 win, a 2-1 loss, a 2-2 draw, and a 3-1 loss. On the road, they're riding an 0-1-4 slide where they've allowed multiple goals in each game for a total of 15 goals. Now, overall, they've been outscored 23-18 on the road in the Bundesliga. And if you were betting both teams to score an over 2.5, that's hit in all 8 of those games. In fact, both teams to score an over 3.5 is also 7-1. This could be a goal fest. It's likely a Leverkusen win. They have only allowed 6 goals at home in their 9 games. Let's just ask Leverkusen to get 2 goals here, playing at home to a very leaky Gladbach defense. So the parlay in Germany will be Hoffenheim and Heidenheim over 1.5. Bremen score, Leverkusen over 1.5 themselves, coming in at -115. Parlay number 2, it's on Saturday. We're in Spain and we're in Italy for this. And it's Real Sociedad and Rayo Vallecano. These are 2 teams going in opposite directions right now. Sociedad has wins in 4 of 5 in all competitions, and they have just 1 loss in 16 and 3 losses in 27 if you look at all of their games. In fact, count up all games in all comps this season, which is 32. They have just 4 losses. 3 were on the road in La Liga to Madrid, Atletico, and Bilbao, and 1 at home to Barcelona. So all some of the top teams in La Liga. Rayo started out strong, but they now have just 3 wins in 12, and 2 of those wins came in the Copa del Rey versus lower tier sides. So they have just 1 win over Getafe in La Liga since October 22nd. Now, Rayo have 5 wins overall in this year, and if you look at those wins, they've come against Getafe, 10th, Las Palmas, 8th, Alaves, 12th, Granada, 19th, and Almeria, 20th. So when they're getting wins, they are generally against some of the lowest teams in the league. Sociedad should win this game. You could also take them just to score in a parlay. They've scored in 17 of their past 20 home games. That's what I'll do here. Sociedad simply to score. Next up, in Italy, Juventus and Empoli. Little explanation should be needed here. Juventus are first. They're 16-4-1. They've outscored their opponents 35-12. Empoli are 19th. They've been outscored 35-14. Juve at home, still undefeated. They're 8-2-0. They've outscored their opponents 16-4. Empoli away, 2-2-6. They've been outscored 18-6. Juve are on an incredible run of form right now in 7 straight wins in all competitions. They're undefeated in 18 games in all competitions at 15-3-0. They have 3 straight clean sheets, and they've scored multiple goals in each of their last 5 games for a total of 18 goals in that time. They also have just 1 loss in their past 23 games. And then if we look at Empoli, they have 1 win, albeit that was their last game last week, 2-0 over Monza, but they still have just 1 win in 9 Serie A games and 3 wins in 22 games across all competitions. It was 2-0 Juve earlier this season on the road. Now they're at home. This should be a straightforward Juve win. The final leg for this parlay, AC Milan and Bologna. The shine is starting to fade off the surprise package of Bologna, who are now winless in 3 games. But they still had a great season so far. They're 8-8-4 with 32 points. If you add in the Coppa Italia, Bologna, though, are winless in their last 4. And they've not even come against some of the top teams. They have a 3-0 loss to Udinese, 1-1 draw with Genoa, 0-0 draw, going on to lose in PKs to Fiorentina, and a 2-1 loss to Cagliari last week. AC Milan, they're third, 45 points. They beat Udinese 3-2 last week, and Roma 3-1 the week prior. They're now 7-1-1 in their past 9. They've scored multiple goals in 7 of those 9 games, and also in 9 of 11 looking at all competitions. If you look at just Serie A alone, at home, they have just 2 losses in 19 going back into last season. Now, Milan won 2-0 in Bologna in August, and they have won 13 of 16 against them in all competitions. Milan should win this game if you're looking for a single bet in a parlay. All kinds of options: Milan double chance, draw no bet, or simply to score. I'm just going to ask Milan to score for my parlay. So it's Milan to score, Juve to win, Sociedad to score, coming in at -122. And parlay number 3 is going to touch on Ligue and La Liga, and it's going to be split over Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, we'll go to France. It's Marseille and Monaco, one of the games of the weekend in France, with 7th place Marseille and 4th Monaco on Saturday. Marseille lost their last game, but it was in the Coupe de France. They have no losses in Ligue 1 in their last 7 games. If you look at all competitions, they're 6-3-2 in their last 11. They've scored in 10 of 11, and the one time they didn't score was a Europa League match against Brighton of the EPL. Now, the under is 5-1 in the last 6, but both teams to score has also gone 4-1 in their last 5. At home, Marseille is undefeated in 11 in all competitions, and they've scored in 18 of their last 20. Monaco, though, their opponents here, they, in all competitions, are 5-0-2 in their last 7. They've scored multiple goals in 3 of 4, and they've scored in 7 of 8 in 18 of 22 games. Monaco games average the highest goals per match in Ligue 1 at 3.3, and they are also tied for the most over 2.5s at 12-6. Marseille is much lower at 2.5 goals per match, and they are definitely more of an under team. They've only had 8 of 18 games go over. But the over 1.5 for Monaco is 15-3, and over 1.5 for Marseille is 14-4. The only concern here is that both teams have a whole slew of missing players to international duty, mostly being to AFCON. Now, among them, Marseille is missing Ismail Sarr from Senegal, who has 3 goals, Mangalou Mbemba from DR Congo, who has 2 goals. Those are among some of their top scorers. Monaco are down Minamino with Japan for the Asian Cup. He is tied for second in their team scoring with 5 goals. But both teams will have key strikers, Aubameyang and Ben Yedder, still there for this game. Now, when these teams last played in Monaco in September, Monaco won 3-2. Last year it was a 1-1 draw and a 3-2 Marseille win. There's been 2 or more goals between them in all competitions in 18 of the last 19, and actually often much more than just 2 goals in those games as well. In fact, both teams to score is 16-3 in the last 19 games between them. Now, Marseille this season have been near spotless at home in league play. They're still undefeated. They're 6-3-0. They've scored 15, and they've allowed just 3 goals. So on that sense, you might think this could be a low scoring. Maybe Monaco's kept off the score sheet. But then if you look to Monaco, you see they have 18 road goals this season, and they've scored when going to the Stade Velodrome in each of their past 13 trips. So this away game does not usually strike fear into them. Away in all competitions, Monaco has scored multiple goals in their last 5 straight road games, and they've scored multiple goals in 9 of their past 11 road games as well. So I think at least maybe this does fall under, but maybe it's 1-1. Let's go both teams to score to kick off this parlay. Certainly, if you wanted a little bit lower odds, you could just go over 1.5 as well. Next, Celta Vigo and Girona in La Liga. Girona lost 3-2 to Mallorca in the Copa del Rey on Wednesday, but they are still first in La Liga, 1 point ahead of Real Madrid. And by scoring in that game, plus in last weekend's 5-1 mauling of Sevilla, Girona have now scored in 24 of 26 games across all different competitions this year. Prior to that Copa del Rey loss, they had been undefeated in 17 games. And then there's their opponents, Celta Vigo, who are 16th in La Liga. They're 3-8-10. They've been outscored 31-21. They also lost in the Copa del Rey this week, 2-1 to Sociedad, and they also lost 1-0 to Sociedad last weekend too. Before that, they had been undefeated in 4 in all competitions, but they have allowed a goal now in 7 straight games. Girona won 1-0 at home in October. Girona are scoring in every game. I'm going to ask them just to get 1 goal here for this parlay. And the final game I will touch on this weekend to round out this parlay, I'm going to go to Cadiz and Athletic Bilbao. It's 18th Cadiz hosting 5th Bilbao. Bilbao's owned this matchup in recent games. They won 3-0 in September this season. Last year they won 4-1 and 4-0 and also won 3-2 prior to that. But back to this year, and Bilbao has been on a tear. They had been undefeated across all competitions in 14 games, being 11-3-0. But they did slip up last week to suffer a loss to Valencia, losing 1-0. But that's just their 4th loss in any competition this season. But they got back to winning ways in midweek a few days ago in the Copa del Rey with a big extra time win over Barcelona, winning 4-2. And that did see Inaki Williams return from AFCON to get on the score sheet. He'll be a boost to their offense this week as well. They've scored in 15 of their last 16 games, just failing to score in that Valencia game. Now they face a Cadiz side, winless in 11 games in all competitions. In fact, their only win in their last 19 games was in the Copa del Rey, and that was against a lower tier side, Bologna. They've allowed a goal now in 10 of 11. I think if you were going on its own, Bilbao should get a win, but Cadiz did just sack their manager, Garcia Pimenta, last week, replacing him with manager Mauricio Pellegrino, so perhaps they get that new coach bump. Let's play this safe and just ask Bilbao to get on the score sheet. So this parlay will be Bilbao to score, Girona to score, Marseille and Monaco, both teams to score, coming in at some decent plus money at plus 145. So those will be my 3 best parlay bets in European soccer this weekend. Let's hope to build on this season's 43-23 record with these parlays. We went 2-2 last week. You can see all the picks for this weekend at the end of this video. Make sure to add your bets into the comments. Click the links at the end of this video if you want to see some picks for AFCON this weekend as well. Whatever you're betting this weekend, good luck with all of your soccer picks.